At least 42 people were killed and at least 322 were wounded today in clashes outside a military building in Cairo where supporters of the former president, Mohamed Morsi, were holding a sit-in. The dilemma for the Obama administration is this. What should we do about the $1.5 billion in annual foreign aid to the United States sends to Egypt? In no uncertain terms, the law says we are to cut off aid to, quote, any nation experiencing a coup d'etat in which the military plays a decisive role. That is exactly what happened in Egypt. The military removed elected President Morsi last Wednesday, yet the Obama administration, along with a number of GOP lawmakers, warned that cutting off aid may destabilize the region. Now, it's almost across party lines. People vary on it. What should we do with the $1.5 billion, Bob?
Listen, the only supporters we have in Egypt, the only institution is the military, and even they're a little bit divided. But if it wasn't for the military, you would have a Islamic government that would be a national security threat to the United States. So if you take that money away, a lot of it goes to the military. It would be a very tragic mistake. And I think you have to cut some things.
Listen. Section 508 of the Foreign Aid Act says you have to cut aid. So what does Obama do?
Well, what he does is what we often do with our laws is we read them a different way.
Very good.
Don't call it a coup. Call it a coup.
Well, no, but they took it one step further and said if the military was involved in the decree, then you have to cut off aid.
Here's what I would say. Tie the aid to creating businesses and capitalism, not to democracy. There was a great article in The Telegraph by Fraser Nelson who said the whole Arab Spring thing started not because they wanted democracy. They just wanted to sell stuff. And one of the merchants actually set himself on fire on a Tunisian street because he's not interested in politics. He just wanted to be a capitalist. And if we can tie the aid into that sort of thing, hooray. But I don't know if we can.
Thoughts?
Well, lighting oneself on fire is never a good idea. I think we're in a bit of a conundrum here because I think, as Bob states, we should continue to support the military, especially because the military is not controlled by the Muslim Brotherhood. But you're right. The specifications say legally we're not able to do so. We are prohibited from continuing aid. So he's going to have to find a way around it to say that it was something else so that he can continue to provide the money.
It hasn't stopped the president from doing what he wants anyway. The problem is the Muslim Brotherhood is Obama's team.
Right.
That's who he supported. The military came in there. They are more pro-West. It was the best thing to ever happen to the country. The problem came when this government, when President Obama stood up and urged Hosni Mubarak to step aside in 2011, an ally to us and a key person in holding the Middle East together, especially relating to Israel.
Big mistake.
Now, the Muslim Brotherhood is going to rally again. They're going to run for these elections. What Mohamed Morsi was doing, and don't forget, we invited them to the White House a number of times. The time was not to give them money then, and Abrams tanks and missiles, and fund the Muslim Brotherhood. The time is now to give the military some support.
We're talking about the rule of law here. We talked about the Zimmerman case. The case against Mubarak as a murdering thug who stole money from Egypt was unmistakable. But leave that aside. Wait a second.
Yeah, leave that aside.
Okay, let's leave it aside. Let's go back to
But he did provide stability in the region, Bob. You can't deny that. And he was an ally to the United States.
To a certain extent, to every extent.
All right.
I think what you can say here is, here's how you get around it. The government of Egypt did not produce the government that the referendum and the Constitution called for. They said that they were going to invite other big sectors, the opposition, into the government. They didn't do it. I think the answer is to have an Iraq-style government where you have the different parties represented and everybody has power and they share it.
They don't want what we have. Look out in that square. Do you see Paul Revere? It's not Philadelphia on the eve of the Constitutional Convention. It never has been. That was the naivete in the first place with this Arab Spring.
Last word on that. We got to move on to the other big story.